Welcome to GBALL Vision, everyone. I hope you are having a fantastic day today. We are talking about some of the greatest knives ever, period. Price is not relative in this video. It might be a $50 knife. It might be a $350 knife. That is not going to be in the equation for this video. We're just talking about purely what are some of the greatest knives ever. And although this is a fairly newer knife, within the last year to 2 years, we'll say that this knife has been around. It is absolutely in the talks for one of the greatest knives ever. It just is. The way it is built, the way that it is designed is one of the many great things about this knife. The aesthetic of this knife is brilliant. I love the handle. Look at the handle. It's just masterfully done. And Chris Rossiter at Renegade Provisions Co., this is the GOM, he knows how to design a knife. He knows how to design an ergonomic knife. Full-length backspacer, nicely rounded edges. You have a slight contouring in the handle, nice flat wide pocket clip, just an outstanding pocket knife, and an M390 Wharncliffe blade that is nice and thin, but not too thin to the point where it makes you feel like you have something fragile. You do have a nice little spine going to the tip there that's going to make that pretty strong, and you still have a nice pokey tip with a long edge, straight edge, man. And then the action, everything about this knife is absolutely perfect. There's not a single thing I would change on this. Some people would say the jimping is too sharp in here. I would say toughen up your fingers. It is rather grabby, but nowhere in the sense of it hurts my fingers. I don't get that out of it. It is nice and grabby. I haven't heard too many people complain, and the few that I have, their hands are probably softer than, Shaman Ultra Soft. But this is a phenomenal knife. There's nothing I would change about it. I absolutely love it. Let's get to the next one. Now, after that long-winded single knife and intro, we're going to move through these a little quicker. I just wanted to kind of get a lot of stuff out of the way and what I'm looking at and looking for. We have the Vero Synapse XL here, Best Tech OEM. This is one of the greatest knives ever. And keep in mind, these are all my opinions. And yes, I know there's a long history behind, knives dating back to, God knows when. But these are just my opinions, and I think they are knives that will carry for a very, very long time into the future and will remain phenomenal knives. Folding pocket knives, EDC knives, user knives, whatever you want to say. Now, this has an M390 drop point blade, stonewashed. You can get all kinds of finishes and flavors, tie bolster, micarta inlay, get tons of different inlays, a nicely done titanium pocket clip. Even though it changes levels, like I say in my one video, and that can be problematic, the way this is done, although I do slightly feel the clip, I feel it. I can tell that it's there. It does not bother me one bit. I could squeeze this knife, all day long, no problem. I know it's there, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't bother me, nothing. This knife is so comfortable. The only thing I would change on this knife is a little longer of a backspacer. Would have been just incredible. Maybe do some light milling internally for, the idea of a longer backspacer. But otherwise, guys, aesthetically beautiful, ergonomic as hell, nicely softened edges. Action is Vero-esque. It is perfect. Flipper and reverse flick. Sounds great. This knife is absolutely one of the best knives ever. Let's get to the next one. This is going to be a representation of a whole line of knives, the EMP EDC line of knives. A lot of you guys know I love EMP EDC, but it's for many good reasons: aesthetics, ergonomics, build quality, customer service. I mean, you go down the line and it's an A+ in every category. On this particular Nimble, this is the X version 2. You have an M390 blade that has a nice satin finish, milled titanium handles. I have some zirconium accents on this guy. And then you have a bronzed golden backspacer and pocket clip. So well done. Nice and wide, nice and flat. You have a little backspacer back here. You have nicely rounded edges all the way across, nice and soft. And then John Rusk, the designer at EMP EDC, he knows how to design a handle. And even without a full length backspacer, this thing is extremely comfortable. I can squeeze this all day long, and every single one of the other Nimbles with that full size finger choil. This thing and the jimping up the spine, it is like a dream in the hand. And then even in standard grip, very, very comfortable. Not only is this an aesthetically pleasing knife, a 10 out of 10, if you will, it is also very functional and will do anything that you need a folding pocket knife to do. Action and deployment methods are all off the charts on this knife, and there's nothing I would change on this knife. It is, in my opinion, perfect. There's one change. It would be the steel choice, but I know sometimes that can be difficult to navigate with the company and what everyone wants. But M390 is a great steel. But that's the only change I would make on this knife, and I expect in the future there will be changes made to the steel on the Nimble X series of knives, I believe. Let's get to the next one. Next up, we got the Brian Brown Knives Jaeger M, and this is a version 2. Now, keep in mind, guys, I don't have all the time in the world, and I don't have every knife in the world. This is just out of my collection, so keep that in mind. If there's a knife that you don't see, either I don't have enough time or I don't have all the knives. We're doing a brief account of some of the best knives, in my opinion. This is a phenomenal knife. M390 on the blade steel, a beautiful satin finish, a nice slicey blade, but still maintaining a nice tip that does resemble that. It might have some good strength there. You do have nice titanium handles that are all nice and soft. Full length backspacer. In this case, it's a Zircuti backspacer, and you have a Zircuti pocket clip that is nicely softened. It has actually a little bit of roundness to it, so it disappears into your hand, and you can choke up, no problem. There isn't a quote unquote finger choil there, but there's definitely a nice flat space that you can get up there and do some pretty good cutting. Action is off the charts, build quality off the charts. Aesthetically, these knives sell out instantly, so it's a aesthetically good knife. It's a great knife all around, and it's one of the best knives ever, in my opinion. Let's get to the next one. And it has zirconium pivot collars and then black DLC hardware, in case you were wondering. And it's one of the most acoustically greatest sounding pocket knives in the history. It's got a beautiful opening ting. Next one. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to go to the Spyderco Shaman. S30V on this guy, USA made, PVD coated, black G10 handles, black hardware all the way around. This is a Lynch Northwest clip. little backspacer made out of G10, and you have the compression lock, no stranger to anyone, Spyderco's trademarked hole. And you can front flip this guy with the jimping up there. It's, you know, it's not meant to do that. It's not meant to be that, but you can do it. So, and if you're going to do it, you better toughen up your fingers because it's very grippy jimping, and because of the angle, you are really having to know how to front flip, because it is not the easiest thing, and a little wrist action doesn't hurt. But this is one of the greatest pocket knives ever. You know, if you want to talk about doing things on a daily basis, using it at work, this could do anything. A full flat grind that is going to be nice and slicey, very tough, especially in S30V. It's going to be a nice tough steel, and a nice tough grind. It's nice and tall. Ergos are off the charts with this guy. Standard grip or choked up. Awesome full-size finger choil. One of the greatest knives ever. No question about it. The Spyderco Shaman. Next, for the Benchmade, I'm going with the Super Freak, the Benchmade Freak. This bad boy is a do-it-all, no question about it. M4, that's been coated very well. This was when Benchmade was at the top of their game and their prices were only slightly inflated. Drop point blade, dual thumb studs. The compression lock on this one is done phenomenally. It could be the slightest bit stronger, but this one has very good spring detent, if you will. And this is actually, 2-3 years old. So they were still doing some knives very good even back then. Maybe you had to get lucky to get one like this, but it is very, very good. Nice G10 handles with some slight contouring and some milling. The access lock on this one is great. I haven't yet changed the pocket clip because I don't aesthetically like it, but it does work very well. Someday I will probably change that. You do have some red liners and standoffs in there to give it some contrast. But the Freak is just an absolute beast. You have toughness, you have edge retention, and because it's coated very well, the M4 worry is corrosion. Well, in this case, it's coated, so you don't have to worry about it so much with this guy. Now, don't throw it out in the rain and leave it out there for a couple days, but it's going to do very well with that coating on there. Let's go ahead and get to the next one. Next up, we got the Spartan Blades Harley, the 2021 special edition, 4 inches of S45 VN. Nice coating on this guy, dual thumb studs. And here we go again with that front flipper that, you can do it, but I don't know that it's really meant for that. But in this case, you can do it pretty easily once you get it figured out. Nice big old pivot there. Those are T15s. Fir tree milled into these nice titanium scales. They have like a satin finish to them. Open construction, 2 massive standoffs. Titanium pocket clip there with the fir tree. It is lower mounted and inset. The screws are sticking out, but in this case, it does not matter. Big old lanyard hole and USA made. This thing's an absolute tank, an absolute beast. I've taken good care of it, but I've also put it through quite a bit of cutting to see how it has done and see how it holds up. But it is an absolute beast. It is a little thicker behind the edge, but I have found no issue slicing right through some thin cardboard or thin paper. This thing is an absolute beast, and I love the Spartan Harley. It is definitely one of the greatest knives ever. Next up, without question, this knife is never going to die, I don't think. The TRM Atom is an absolute slicing machine. USA made, 20 CV, crazy thin blade stock, crazy thin behind the edge, dual titanium thumb studs in this case. You do have titanium handles that have a slight contouring to them and a nice milling pattern done on these. This is the DLC coated version. So this is like a one batch run, and they haven't done these since then, I believe. So there's only a few of these out there. And then you have a titanium pocket clip, open construction, titanium liner lock on washers, great access with some jimping. If you need a slicing machine that is just going to be ultra sharp for a long time, this is your guy here. Lightweight, almost bug out light, depending on your scales. If you have carbon fiber, it is going to be just ultra lightweight and way better a way different build and considerably better in a sense. This is a phenomenal knife, one of the greatest ever, and it's going to continue to be that, especially with them coming out in different steels and different flavors of blades and handles. TRM's doing a fine job. Let's get to the next one. Next up, we have the Sharp by Design Mini T, or the Mini Tempest. This thing is just absolutely phenomenal. These were hugely popular and still are for sure. I bet, the next run of these, they will sell out instantly, I'm going to guess, especially if it comes out in another steel and so on. But in this case, you do have an M390 blade, drop point, beautiful hand satin on that guy. Try to get it in the light there. And then you do have titanium outline and handle with a gold matter fat carbon, I believe it is, for an inlay. This is a bolster lock, which is exceptionally well done. Front flipper is Ray Laconico-esque. It is just perfect, absolutely perfect. You can access the fuller with some practice. Action is absolutely incredible. Ergonomics are incredible. It slices very well. It's not too thick. It comes down pretty thin. Ergos are phenomenal. I love the SPD Mini Tempest. And if he does some new flavors like coated S90V and then some different handle flavors, I might be in on another one. I love these. So well done. Riot made. Let's get to the next one. Next up, we have the Riot made Christensen Maverick S, and this thing is an absolute beauty. Slicey as all hell. It comes down ultra, ultra thin. Nice sheep's foot style blade. Satin finish. M390 on the steel. Zirconium thumb studs and pivot collars, along with zirconium geared backspacer, pocket clip. This thing is absolutely decked out. Good Riot green micarta here. It's a little smoother on the finish, but very grippy if your hands are sweaty or wet. Even naturally, they're just nice and grippy. You have good access with a chamfer there on that liner. This is a titanium liner lock. Action's incredible. Even for that lightweight blade, it is nice and slicey. Ergos are great. It is a phenomenal knife, one of the greatest ever, and I absolutely love it. There's a reason these sell out very quickly. There are frame locks, and this thing is just an absolute dream. They stay out of stock, and there's a good reason. It is a phenomenal knife, even for its size. It is incredible. So give me a thumbs up and leave it down in the comments. Let me know what you think of this list. Let me know what you would add. Uh, don't let me know what I missed. Let me know what you would add. I know there's plenty of another 10 that could easily fill in for these 10, but you know, I think this is a good list. I really thought about it and I wanted to incorporate different companies, you know, American and OEM knives from overseas, uh, have some American stuff, just some different stuff from different companies. And I thought about it long and hard. That's what she said. And this is what I came up with. And I think this is a solid group. Uh, just a phenomenal flavor of knives and all very ergonomic, very user friendly under a ton of different circumstances. We're missing one. The Shaman, definitely cannot forget about that guy. But these are 10 of my greatest knives ever. Love you guys. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you here. I'll throw up 2 new videos. Go ahead and check them bad boys out. I love you and thank you for staying this long. I appreciate the hell out of you.